Welcome to our executive video interview series on leveraging modern networks to better serve citizens. I'm Wyatt Cash with Scoop News Group, and we're delighted to be speaking with Dmitry Kagansky, Deputy Executive Director and Chief Technology Officer for the state of Georgia. Dmitry, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So I'd like to start with the question of what steps has the state of Georgia taken over the past couple of years to modernize its network performance?
So we've actually put quite a bit of emphasis in overall performance throughout the state. We've had obviously the larger locations, urban metro areas that have been built out and pretty well reinforced, but we've also started moving out more to the edges of the state, trying to get more coverage and taking advantage of new technologies that are available. We've got a pretty sizable broadband push going on in the state. We want to make networking available to everyone in the state as a whole.
And then can you talk a little about what were some of the network challenges that the state of Georgia was facing? And how would you say more modern solutions like SD-WAN and others have made a difference?
Yeah, so one of the biggest challenges are those remote locations. And, that last mile has always been the biggest challenge, especially in far-flung areas of the state. And what we've done is started to take more of a holistic approach, making sure that we provide the access in a number of different ways, right? So SD-WAN, where we can reconfigure networks a lot more easily, taking advantage of multiple networks and network types. Certainly building out not just the broadband side, but the wireless side of things as well. There's now technologies that give us comparable speeds over the airwaves instead of just relying on cabling or fiber and things like that.
And then in terms of getting some of this work done, how do you see the role of managed network service providers helping state agencies improve overall network performance and security compared to, just trying to deploy upgrades on their own?
Yeah, I mean, we lean heavily on all of our service providers, especially our managed network providers. And the big reason for that is really they're the specialists, right? We look at our role as being a service provider to state agencies. We provide a number of technology services throughout the state, but we're not going to be as in-depth and experts in all of these areas. So our service providers do come into play. They know a lot more of what's on the leading and bleeding edge of technology, what makes sense for us. And while we certainly can make decisions on our own, we find that we're much better off partnering with them and using those experts that they have on hand.
Absolutely. Well, and then how would you say your internal agency customers are benefiting from greater connectivity and service delivery as a result of network modernization?
Yeah, so one of the things that we're seeing is that we're giving a lot more flexible environments now to our customers, right? And our customers are really those state agencies. Georgia Technology Authority, for the most part, doesn't deal with end users, right? We're not the ones working with driver's licenses, healthcare benefits, those sorts of things. We provide services to the agencies, but now we're giving them flexibility to service their constituents a lot more. A clear-cut example of that is we're in the midst of a wireless project among all of our offices. Whereas before we had workers bound to desks set up on desktops and monitors, now we're looking to roll out a wireless project where they can be more flexible. They can work with users closer to where they are, changing out configurations of the offices, letting them work on things like iPads and tablets, laptops, so that they're not bound to a desk. And then we're spreading that out even further to have that mobility go out beyond the offices, right? So they can work remotely, essentially meeting constituents where they are.
Well, I have to imagine if the employees are better enabled, then they're able to do a better job with the end users and the citizenry in general. Last question for you. What additional advice would you offer other state agencies as they look to modernize their networks?
I think there's two things. One, and we've already touched on it before, is absolutely lean on your partners, right? Don't think that you should go it alone. It's not just up to you to figure out what the solution is. There's plenty in the industry that can help you, and they're going to give you the best advice. Obviously, seek a number of consultations. The other thing is look to technologies that aren't necessarily network specific or maybe a little bit different. So for example, one of the things we're taking a close look at is this notion of zero trust. While it's an overall security mechanism, we realize that with something like zero trust, we're going to be able to expand out networking capabilities as well, to where people can now work in scenarios where they may not have access to the state network directly, but we can still get them on and get them onto that network in a secure fashion.
That's a great observation, and appreciate your mentioning that as well. Well, Dmitry Kagansky, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to join us and share some of your insights on network modernization for the state of Georgia.
Thank you, Wyatt.